Release Athens, 19 Ιουλίου. Οι Release Athens επιστρέφουν στη χώρα μας, μαζί με τους Gojira φυσικά, που είναι οι headliners της βραδιάς, και τους Lacuna Coil. Οι Release Athens, ο Loz Taylor μας μιλήσαμε πριν από μερικές ημέρες για την επιστροφή τους στην Ελλάδα, για το πώς υποδέχθηκε ο κόσμος το πιο πρόσφατο άλμπουμ τους, για το αν απολαμβάνουν το να ανήκουν, το να χειρίζονται οι ίδιοι τη μουσική τους, να διανέμουν τη μουσική τους, να είναι ανεξάρτητοι δισκογραφικά. Μας έκανε μια αποκάλυψη για τη σχέση του με την Ελλάδα. Μιλήσαμε για την κατάσταση και για το στάτους της μουσικής στην Αγγλία και στη Βρετανία γενικότερα. Για πάρα πολλά ωραία πραγματάκια με έναν πάρα πολύ ωραίο τύπο που φαίνεται ότι γουστάρει πάρα πολύ αυτό που κάνει. Αυτός είναι ο Loz Taylor και τα όσα είπε στο Roxx πριν από μερικές ημέρες.
We spoke, I think it is 4 years now.
Oh, really?
The last time we spoke, it was April of 2021, just in the Sleep Society cycle, just before or right after you.
Right.
You gave us this record, so it's been great to have the opportunity to talk to you again.
Thank you, man. Yeah, likewise.
So you just started your European Summer Festival season a few days ago with a show on Rock for People. How was it?
Incredible. Like really, really good. Yeah. First one of the season, really, for us. And yeah, couldn't have asked for anything more. It was really huge crowd and like, yeah, big stage set up and pyro and all that stuff. So it was a really fun show.
I was checking before your performance to see the time that you were playing, and I wanted to see what will you play in time for the interview. And then I saw that you were almost some minutes before midnight. It was a night show, so it must be great. It was the closer.
Yeah. We headlined that stage. Yeah, it was the second stage at Rock for People, and you know it's always weird when you step out onto a stage that late on at night, and you're a bit unsure about what other bands are playing and stuff like that. But like there was a huge turnout, like I said, and such a great time. But
how do you treat these summer shows? I mean that you toured for Self-Hell in Europe, in the US, Japan, Indonesia, Australia, and you have these 9 or 10 shows this summer. Do you treat them as a closer for the album cycle, perhaps?
I guess a little bit, yeah. I mean, our new record has been out a little while now, but we never like only play songs from the new record, you know. We try and mix it up, make sure there's something there for every sort of era of While She Sleeps. We like to make a collective lineup of songs that we think will go down well, and hopefully it appeases everybody that comes, whether you're a new fan or an older fan, you know. So try and mix it up.
I have to ask because I saw that you played in the US for almost a month. In April, you were there for 30 days and in different states, even in Texas, San Antonio. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I have to ask, was the experience touring the States any different from the other times you were in the States due to all the things that we see from the other side of the Atlantic with the Trump administration and all that things?
Yeah,
was it different for you?
I mean, marijuana is now legal in a lot of states, which is actually, you know, it's actually kind of nice not to be able to have a little smoke and relax and not feel like a criminal, which is nice. But I mean, we kind of, in a sense, being in a band, you kind of have a sheltered view of what's going on, especially politically. We're lucky enough to sort of roll up to the venue and walk around the cities a little bit, and we're greeted by people who know the band, who are excited to see us. So we do get a sheltered view of what's going on there. Personally, for me, like it didn't really necessarily feel like there was much different. But then you do have people coming to the shows that do want to talk to you about sort of their political views of the way that their own country is, which is difficult. You know, we're not living there, and it is tough to pass judgment on something that you're not personally experiencing. But yeah, like I said, we have a sheltered view. We're lucky enough to be able to visit these places and not necessarily get too deep into the political side.
Understood.
So yeah, I didn't notice any huge differences. I mean, the world's a crazy place, like it really is, and it's changing all the time, not always for the better. So yeah, it is tough. But when we go out there, we try and, we're a band. We want to be entertainment for those people, and hopefully, when we go and play the shows, it's a little bit of time for them to sort of forget about maybe a lot of those things and a lot of those worries, and just come and have a good time.
That's great. Now, it's been a while since the release of Self-Hell. How do you feel about the album now, with some distance from its initial impact?
Yeah, I think as an artist anyway, like, you put something out there, whether, if you're a painter, you might do a painting.
Yeah.
And then, a few months later, you might turn around and be like, oh, I might have done things differently. It's exactly the same with music, really. I think you can always look at the songs that we've written and think, oh, that might have actually been better to do it this way in hindsight. I think that for us as a band, like we formed through the love of metalcore, and metalcore now is such a huge genre. There's so many bands out there. So many bands doing it well, and a lot of bands, doing it in a way that's not necessarily for me. I like the early 2000s, Darkest Hour, All That Remains, Kill Switch kind of stuff. So for us with Self-Hell, we wanted to see how far we could step outside of metalcore, just be a rock band and try new things. And so we're really proud of it. I think that it shows that we can be a very, very diverse band. It was probably one of our favorite times in the studio in terms of experimentation and trying to just have fun in the studio. I think Self-Hell for us is, although the themes that run through the record, it can be quite deep, and from a personal sort of mindset or standpoint, it was very fun to record and fun to be creative. And I think, now looking back at it, there's always things that you would do a little differently. But I think the album was well received. And for me personally, it's great to not put out a record that sounds like anybody else. And I think we managed to do that. And also, like, it feels to me at the moment that most bands want to sound like Korn meets Deftones. There's so much of that, like, that like really sort of ambient, distanced sort of singing with like beat down heavy and like drop tunings like Korn. And for us, I think we sort of stood out on our own, and we just said, we're not going to follow the current trends, and we're just going to create something that feels kind of fresh for our scene. And I think that's one of the proudest things that we managed to do with the record.
I just want to speak about two particular tracks from the record, To the Flowers and Rainbows.
Yeah.
These are my absolute favorites from the album. I think that they are two of the best tracks you've ever written, and you can put them in a best of compilation, even if it only has 10 tracks. Fans love them, and I think. Did you feel that you had back then something special in your hands with these two songs when you first created them?
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult when you're releasing singles because you want to showcase to your fan base and also to new people what sort of flavors, if you like, are going into a new record. So it's always strange to pick songs based on like what's going to grab a lot of attention, what are people going to, and we kind of, in a sense, we kind of wanted to rock the boat a little bit with what people were to expect from our new album. It was a little different, and we wanted to showcase like some of those things. So we didn't actually put Rainbows out as a single, although we sort of knew that one was going to be a bit of a front runner with our fan base, especially with the sort of heaviness and the straight down the middle like chugs in the song. So that was no surprise to us that was like a front runner with our fans. Like it's a bit of a fan favorite. We're playing at all the festivals, and it's gone down really well. So we kind of knew that one might be up there for people. But with To the Flowers, that was sort of a progressive song, and it was this sort of, I don't know how you describe it, the sort of melting riff that comes in that feels a bit, I don't know, I guess it feels a bit like Massive Attack vibes or something like that, like the drought, the wavy synth in there. And for us, like when we sat and we were listening back to the record and what to put out there, we kind of all came to the realization that could be a big song for us, and that's why we went so sort of heavy with the theme of the video, because the song already felt like very emotive. And I think
with the video, it crashes you.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you listen to the song and watch the video, it crushes you almost every time.
yeah, and we felt like like I say, the emotion within the song needed
Mm-hmm.
something really heavy to go with it. And I think what's really great about our fan base is that they don't just like the heavy side of our band. They really like the emotive, more ambient and sort of emo side, if you like. So it's really
Yes.
able to put out sort of heavy punk rock metal songs and also know that our fans are down to hear a bit more of a ballad-esque song, if you like. So yeah, they turn into big songs. We're playing them live, and I think yeah, they pull different emotions, and it's really great. Like I said, that our fan base loves both sides of our band.
Was it a decision to double down on the video and release the mini movie after that?
Yeah, I think that, while she sleeps, although we sort of can talk quite negatively about I don't know, whether it's politics or personal experiences and sort of struggles through those times, we always want to leave people with a positive affirmation, a positive note. So for us, it was the second sort of To the Flowers was like almost like a follow-up. We didn't want to touch on some really heavy topics and then not sort of check back in with people and sort of,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt really good to let you know sort of how the character has evolved and moved on. And it kind of shows that, out of an extremely negative, dark space, you can really eventually find sort of a positive outcome and learn to live with things. So yeah, we wanted to check back in with our fan base and let them know that like this story, this story and the characters, they do find a positive outcome.
And I think that it's a first that there's never been a sequel to it. There's been sequels to songs, but there's never been a sequel to a video of a song, and that's great. That's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think like While She Sleeps is one of those bands we don't like to sort of follow trends, and we try and do our own thing. And again, that was sort of the idea. Like I think people might have expected there to be a secondary part to the music, but
Yeah.
we were kind of like, we don't want to take away from what we've already created with that. And yeah, like I said, it was just checking in and letting people know that the onward journey of these characters for To the Flowers.
You've been continuing down this independent road. You are releasing your own music. What are the biggest challenges and freedoms from this decision that you took almost 10 years ago now?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long process to sort of, you imagine like, we're going to be an independent band, and a lot of people might imagine it's just like, bam, that's just how it goes from that time on. But there are a lot of roots that are entwined in actually breaking free from the man, if you like, and becoming an independent band. And like you said, that does take a little bit of time. I think that for us, we've always been a very hands-on band, very punk rock in the way that we operate and the way that we do things. All the artworks that come from the band are by us. All the videos are majoritively in-house. Obviously, the music and the operating of what we do. So for us, it felt like that would be the best way to deliver what we want to our fan base. It's straight from us to our fans now, and there's not really many middle people, middle companies or anything in there. And yeah, we felt like that's the best way to work. I feel like we were sort of going through 10 people to get the job done that we knew that we could sort of do ourselves, I mean, you have to be a very steadfast band to be able to operate in that way. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work and graft, and yeah, so to break free from the traditional model of how a band might operate with a label and things like that, it took us a while, but yeah, it's great. It does give us freedoms. It gives us opportunities to like connect the best way possible with our fan base. I think that it's kind of difficult in terms of like distribution and things like that. When kind of need help to be like, okay, we need these records to go all over the world. So we have little relationships like that with people outside that help us distribute the records and things like that. But other than that, yeah, completely independent and yeah, not looking back currently.
I was talking the other day with Bobby Villan,
Okay.
who I asked him that you don't. There's no possibility for you to go back to a label and do that. And he told me that, you know what, maybe for a change, for one record, it will be great for someone else to handle all this process. Is it something that you also think that maybe in the near future or in the distant future we could try that again if the terms are better?
Yeah, I think, you never say never, and I think that we're not trying to sort of say that everyone in the music industry is the devil, you know what I mean? If people are passionate about your project and your band and they want to help you, then it's always great to have people on your side to help with those things. I think that, especially for a band like us, we signed to a major label probably almost 20 years ago now. So when you're young and you're naive, it's easy for people to come in and tell you that the best way to do things, and almost like you fall into a bit of a business trap there with like you're paying loads of people to work for your band, and it is nice to take the power back. However, there are also good things to come from having a major label and working with other people. So I would never say never. I would just say that While She Sleeps has learned a lot from the whole process, being signed to major labels and having people outside of the band working for us. Also, we've learned a lot on our own terms now. So I think definitely for the time being, we feel like we don't need that. But I would never say never, I think that it's just very easy for young artists to get into a trap of basically money, and that's where things can get very, very scary, and it has been for us at times, when you think people have your best interests and actually it turns out that they kind of they kind of don't. So yeah, we're older now, hopefully a bit wiser. We've just kind of learned that the hard way. So for us at the moment, independent is the way, and kind of that's what feels most punk rock as well, like.
Yeah, back to the music side, looking back across your discography, which album means the most for you personally? I'm not asking if it's the best album you consider it the best, but which one means the most to you?
I think I would have to say Brainwashed. When I first joined the band in 2009, I was obviously very young and wanted to party a lot and didn't have any real vocal technique or anything like that. So I struggled quite a lot with that whole balance. I was partying all the time and, staying up late and playing shows, and it was really taking its toll on my vocal cords. I've had 3 throat surgeries now on my cords, and I think that one was the most challenging record, but also taught us a lot about our band's resilience and how much we all like care about While She Sleeps and what we get from it. So being able to sort of return with that record, even though I recorded that whole record with a messed up larynx, basically, I think that there is a lot of positives to come from that, and the fact that we've worked through that difficult time and managed to still put out a 15-track metal record with my voice in the state that it was, and then playing some huge shows to support the album, one of them being a main stage download performance. It's a really proud moment to know that your boys have got your back and the band, care about you, and the fans are still there after you have time out. And so yeah, it's a proud record for us, I think, to be able to work through those difficult times and be able to say we still put out a record, we're still here today, and our fan base is still supporting us.
You mentioned it earlier. The 20th anniversary of the band is fast approaching. I think it's 2026. Have you considered doing anything special this year, or it's too early to say anything about this?
I think being in a band, you're always one step ahead. We're kind of messing with little bits of music or planning how we're going to continue the band. So there are talks about what we could do for that. I don't know if there'll be any huge celebration yet. Don't really know what the plans are. But yeah, it's incredible that the band's been going for 20 years, because I'm sure if you'd have told the rest of the lads that when we were younger, it'd just be like, what? We've been doing this for years. And it's a huge achievement, and I think our fans will be keen to celebrate with us however we see that happening. But yeah, it's going to be a very special year for us regardless. Yeah, we're stoked.
Yeah. How do you see the current state of the British rock and metal scene? We've seen British bands having great mainstream success the past few months, years. We have Bring the Horizon headlining Download after 15 or 20 years that they were together.
Yeah.
We've recently seen Sleep Token go from 300 person clubs to headline Download. How do you view all these things?
I think that the main take that I take from that is that the music industry has kind of changed so dramatically. We sort of come from that era of band that was the hard graft and touring that earned your stripes and got you the recognition and that you kind of deserved. Obviously now streaming has dramatically changed that, and artists can turn ginormous, in a shorter space of time. I think that for me personally, I think it's amazing. I think any band that comes out of the UK, no matter what genre, that's hopefully pushing a positive message and doing great things is just good for the state of UK music in general. I think it's amazing to see bands like Malevolence and Loathe also coming from a different sort of more hardcore scene and doing great things. And it feels really healthy, I think that I would potentially like to see more, not friendships. I think that it's quite easy to fall into like cliques, like when you're at school and you have like the cool kids and, these other bands. But I think that no matter what band you are, if you're doing well and people like your band, then there should always be a space for everybody. So I feel like less like cliques and cool kid like attitudes and a bit more like openness to everyone, no matter what genre, would be great. But like I say, bands like Sleep Token, Bring Me, and Malev and Loathe, and there's so many artists coming out of the UK from all different genres, and it's great to see all these bands doing well on a world sort of scale and touring other countries and showing people sort of how we do things from the UK. The UK birthed a lot of these genres, and a lot of artists wouldn't be doing what they do now if it wasn't for the historic side of UK and British rock and roll, if you like. So it's great to see. I'm stoked for everyone doing well out there. It's cool.
Are there any up-and-coming UK bands you feel people should be paying more attention to? Maybe not so well-known like the ones you've mentioned.
Yeah, there's two bands that I've been listening to quite a lot recently, actually. One band's called Angel Number. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're kind of bringing in like a Nine Inch Nails vibe to a bit of a metalcore sound. It's got like a bit of an 80s sort of synth pop element to what they're doing, and that feels really fresh to me. Like it feels like there isn't anyone out there doing that. So Angel Number's one of them, and then over the last sort of 6 months, I've been listening to a band called Leap. They're kind of like a bit more sort of pop rock indie, I'd say. Yeah, really great songs, and like they just sort of come onto my radar, and I've seen they're playing a lot of festivals, and they're about to release their first album. So yeah, I'd say those two just off the top of the dome.
You're returning to Greece after 6 years. You played here in a club in Gagarin in 2019. It almost feels like it was another world back then. It was pre-COVID. It was a great show. And you are coming back to play at Release Athens, your first festival here in Greece. Do you remember anything from the last time you were here in Greece? And also if you have a message for the Greek fans that await for you.
Well, what I would like to say about Greece, I don't have a huge recollection of the show that we played there. So I'll have to dive back in to see my photos and some videos of...
Just one moment. One of our readers told me to say to you that back then in 2019 in the club there was a balcony and you jumped from there. And ask him. It's a festival. From where is he going to jump?
Yeah. Hey, it's never pre-planned. But I think I do remember that venue actually. Being a really cool venue. I think I might have had like a pot on my leg. I think I like broke my ankle.
Yes.
So I do remember the show, and it was a great show. Yeah, it was a great show. However, alongside those things, I absolutely adore Greece. I got married in Greece at St. Paul's Bay in Lindos just last September.
Congratulations, man. I didn't know that.
Thank you. And then literally a few weeks ago, we went back there because we love it so much, and we've been coming for a lot of years. So yeah, I always have fond memories of Greece, and you know, we love, like, as a band, we love the country. Personally, I love the country. I'm visiting again in September to come back and enjoy the beautiful scenery and stuff there. So yeah, love it out there. Can't wait to be in Athens. And I'd just like to say that, you know, we want to visit places as often as possible, anywhere that we have a fan base and people that want to sort of come and see our band. Sometimes it's difficult to make it work, but you know, being able to come and support a great band like Gojira and come and see all our Greek fans is an absolute honor. So if you're out there supporting our band, like, thank you so much for the love. And yeah, we're stoked for the festival. Can't wait.